Yes, presentation this time will be English. Next time when I come here, I promise to learn a bit more in Turkish. It's my first time in Turkey, so very exciting and nice experience. I represent internet research company Gemius, and I am working mostly for Eastern markets, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Moldova, and Baltic countries. So actually, this will be kind of fresh view on Turkish market, and there will be a lot of data. Data not always are interesting. However, I hope that you will find something for your inspiration and will be able to use in your business. First of all, I will give brief, very brief introduction about our company, which you probably know a little bit. Then I will present how does Turkish market looks among other Central Eastern European markets. Then I will proceed with some details of Turkish online audience. We have some news, some more interesting information for you, and we'll finalize with some conclusions and trends from other regions. So first of all, a little bit about us, about Gemius, who we are. We are an internet research company, and we are in touch with online campaigns, with online advertising in any stage, in planning stage, in ad serving stage, in post-analytical stage, as well as market research. Turkish market is one of those markets where we are JIC standard for online audience measurement, among such markets as Poland, Czech, Denmark, and many others. All in all, at the moment, we are present in around 30 markets, and in most of them, we are industry standard for online audience measurement. These days, not this day, this time is very special for us because we made some serious developments regarding Turkish market. We made few steps forward, and what we did is we switched from cookie panel data to fusion panel data to measure Turkish online audience. What it means, very shortly, it means that if before we were able to get the data only about those websites which had our scripts, then right now we are able to deliver data to you about any website on the market, including com websites, Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube, which do not have our scripts on the site. And it also means that for us, Turkish joins the most biggest, the most advanced markets with this methodology. In smaller markets, we still use cookie panel methodology, while in bigger markets, in terms of number of internet users, in terms of size of online advertising industry, we use the most advanced fusion panel methodology. So about Turkish market and how does it look among other markets. First of all, it's huge. It's really huge. And in our region, it's second biggest behind Russia in terms of number of internet users. The number is 25 million. That's more than 20 times more than population of the country where I'm from. It's huge. For me, it's really hard to understand it. So it's, of course, Russia will probably lead this region. However, it seems that Turkey will be stable number 2 in the whole region. If we speak about internet penetration, then, of course, the main trend is that top countries are the ones with smaller populations, with smaller size. And there is some really simple logical arguments. It's simply more simple, more possible to provide infrastructure for internet, for connecting to the internet. Bigger countries have lots of more barriers simply to provide it technologically. Turkey, if we look at this, Turkey is not in front. It's quite near again to Russia, and we know that it's still growing. Actually, this was the year, last year was a year when a lot of markets grew very fast. Same Russia and same Ukraine. So probably there can be expected also some bigger switches also in Ukraine. However, still we see that it's steady growing. If we speak about online ad spend, and these will be data from 2009 and 10. In many countries still we do not have official data for the last year. Now they are being provided, April, March, May. What we see is that Turkey experienced huge growth. It basically doubled. The growth was biggest than in any other country, and in 2010 it took 4th place. Probably if we would look at more fresh data from the last year, it would already be 2nd. And well, that's for sure what will happen in future. It's 2nd as to the size, and it definitely has potential to be 2nd also as to online ad spend. If we look a bit deeper at online ad spend per internet user, we see that there is undeniable leader Czech, and Turkey is again near to Russia, somewhere in the middle. So again, it will be interesting to see more fresh figures soon when we have them, but I believe it will be already somewhere here, taking in account the growth of economy of the country, taking in account the growth of internet. Let's look at Western Europe. Let's look how it looks among, let's say, markets what we consider to be the most developed. Of course, UK and Denmark is leading, but these are really 2 exceptions, one of the few markets in the world where internet ad spend is more than TV ad spend, and well, that's something. It's like around 26%. So these are really huge markets. However, as you see, Netherlands, well, it's already just a bit more than 20%, and Spain, Italy, Portugal, well, basically, it's on the same level what we have on average on Central and Eastern Europe, and even less. And Turkey is, for example, bigger than Italy or bigger than Portugal. So it's not even so that there in Western Europe they are here and we are somewhere here. Not at all. On average, it's quite comparable, in fact. About what we do here, about the main thing, about Turkish online audience. Some main, very basic characteristics of the market: 25 million internet users, almost 2,500 of page use done by one internet user in months. These are data for January, and almost 50 hours spent online by one internet user. This is really huge. Same number in Denmark is around 35 hours. So actually, we see that those users which are using internet in Turkey, they are very engaged, and they are quite advanced users. They use a lot of content. They consume content very intensively. Some basic characteristics. There are more men than women in general on the internet, 56 and 44%. Men are also more active on the internet. They were 56 as to the number, but they are making 63% of page use on the market. So they are still even more actively using internet than women do. And they are also spending more time. So they are spending, out of all time spent on the internet, 64% is done by men. If we look at age groups, quite a typical picture, of course. Usually, younger age groups like 18 to 34, 45, these are typically most active. And same is here, with the most representative group being 25 to 34. However, if we look at the activity, we see that this group is no more leading. Younger group is doing more page use, and even those a bit older groups are more active. So that one thing is when we look at the numbers, the other thing is when we look at the usage. It's important because when you buy advertising, when you buy CPM, you are in fact interested how people are using it. And same for time spent, just the difference is even bigger. Younger group, 18 to 24, is spending most time, but it's interesting that in 45 to 54, the number is increasing. And if we look at all numbers in total, I think it says one thing. Of course, there are differences, but there are no very critical differences. They are comparable. So it means that all audiences which have gone on the internet, they are very well acquainted to it, and they are using, all of them are using it quite actively. Usually in growing markets, let's say, contra-argument about going to advertise on the internet is that, well, yeah, it's for young audiences only. We cannot reach serious people there. Of course, younger people are more, and it's also related to the population of the country. However, we see here that also older people are consuming internet. They are active users of it. So it's a good argument for publishers when you are meeting with your potential clients. And now about the data. The first impression when I looked really independently from aside at the data we are producing at Turkish market, I didn't have any business with Turkey before. What's visible is huge, really huge power of those global players. Google is number 1, Facebook is number 2, Windows Live, YouTube, MSN, and what's the most surprising, Twitter number 8. I haven't seen Twitter that high in any market. It's huge. Strong local brands. Local brands are taking place around from 7th to 13th, and then there were at 19th place and 20th place. I took the top 20 here. There are still quite many of them represented, and I am not very good expert of the content of it, but it seems that the most strongest brands are related to news and to videos, which is also news, of course, it's typical. Videos, probably it seems that video is really a big thing here and or becoming a big thing. But typically, when we look at such top, we see more different services. Some local social network, some mail server, for example, some dating site, some classifieds. In this case, I guess it's not so diverse. It's more news and videos, if we look at the big picture. What was surprising, number 21, Travian. It's probably also specifics of, it's just probably what people like. People like gaming here, probably. 21st, that's really high, really high. And this was very interesting. Now I know what these sites are about. Yes, it's a weather website and it's state lottery. However, this is, I think, really something special, and it tells not just about the internet, it tells also about the country. I mean, everywhere now, everyone is trying to bring students and pupils online because it's more effective and use the advantages what online environment gives to education. And it seems that here it's working pretty well. Okay, I cannot judge about exactly what they are doing there, but I have some information, and that's a really big thing to me. Now some small reminder about maybe how we can use the data and why they are a little bit more than just data for media planning now, when we can present the data about all the websites on the market. I took two examples which seem to me like typical men websites. First of all, both of them have really big reach, taking in account that we are looking for male audience. The reach is big, and the percentage of men on the website is huge. So very, very well targeted resources. As we see, here we have 82% men, and they are doing 87% of page views. So they are really showing their interest in the content of the website. So the content of this website is definitely very interesting for men. However, if we look at the second website, and which is, I guess, commercial website, there we can see what's the other possibility to use the data. It has big reach, and it has also around 80% of men attracted to the site, probably by some advertising campaigns, by search, by brand, whatever. They are coming there, but it's commercial website. Once you are attracting those people, probably you are trying to work with your target audience, and finally your goal is to sell something to them. But when we look deeper, we see that number of page views done by men is dramatically increasing. When we look at the time, it's only 23%. So they managed to bring men to the website, but probably the approach, how they try to talk to men, is not really correct, because those men are not showing their interest in the content. Or maybe advertising that they are having is rather better speaking to men and getting them to the site than to women, even though maybe women is also a target audience of this business. So just an example how the data can be used not just for media planning, but also for analyzing how your marketing is working. Two examples, typical women websites also with big reach. It was interesting when I took top 50 and I sorted data as to percentage of women on those websites. None of them scored significantly above 50%. However, still, it's more than women are on the internet on average. So it's good. So it is more for women than for men. And what's good here in both cases, that we see that the number of page views and the time spent in this target group of women, is even more than the number, the percentage of them. So again, it shows that the content works well. It works well for women. Where can we find middle-level managers? And from the first impression, these will be some similar, let's say, equally good investments. I'm an advertiser. I'm looking for middle-level managers. Both sites have reached around 40%, really good, really big ones. Target group, middle-level managers, here are 6.4%, here 5%. So, okay, this one is bigger, but still quite equal. However, let's go deeper. Let's look at the percentage of page views done by the target group. Here, it's 11.4, and here it's 2.6. So if I, as advertiser, would look at just the percentage of target group on those sites, I would think that this is equally good investment. However, I am buying impressions. And when I'm buying impressions on this site, every 10th user will be in my target group, and on this site, every 40th user will be from my target group, which is huge difference. And the same about time spent. As we can see here, it's increasing even more, and here it's even less again. So it means that audience is loyal to the site. It trusts this site. And if it trusts the site, it would probably trust the advertising on this site as well. And now the total ranking. Total ranking, top 20, what our Fusion data are showing as to the number of real users, people on the website. Number 1, number 2, Google and Facebook. And again, such reach of Facebook I have not seen on any market. It's 90%. It's very, very high. Probably it's, I don't know how historically your market developed, but probably when all this social media boom started, it was around 2005, and in most markets there appeared lots of local players, social media websites. Probably here it appeared a bit later and didn't manage to fight with Facebook. And now, considering that Facebook already has very well established brand, people are already, once they start using internet, they are getting connected to Facebook. And then in 2005 and 6, actually those local social networks, they were driving internet penetration. All the young boys and girls, they wanted to be on social networks. They want, because their neighbors were, their friends were there, so they also wanted to be there. And that was driving internet penetration levels. I don't know if Facebook also is doing it here, but probably, because the reach is huge. So really big domination of international sites, and Twitter on number 8, that's amazing. However, if we look at the page views and time spent, we see that local brands are actually doing better, which is good, which means that local content is appreciated by the audience. We see that now it's not yet so dominated. We see that on second place as to page views per visitor is the local brand. And same here. They are higher. So people want to see local content. They like it. Facebook is social network, but as to the content, they want local content. A little bit about mobiles, well, which is now also a hot topic everywhere. And this is, out of all websites that we measure, the percentage of page views which are done from mobile devices. And the leading, of course, is Denmark with huge number. On average, we have like 5–7% of that in the region. And Turkey is comparable like to Slovakia, to Ukraine, a little bit lower. But this is something that is growing very fast, and probably if we would look at the data after a year, it will be already some 4%, 5%. Because in Denmark, it also boomed recently during the last year, and so it did in other countries. And biggest players, Apple and Nokia. However, again, let's not look at the percentage. Let's look at absolute numbers. If we look at the absolute numbers, actually, Turkey is number 1 as to the number of page views done from mobile devices. So again, it's probably, it tells about the size of the market. Even though the percentage is low, in absolute numbers, it's huge. And also, you can get declarative information in our Gemius audience data about usage of mobile internet, and around 9.5 million users have declared that they use mobile internet. Well, declarative answers usually tend to be a little bit overestimated and also, however it may be, because all the mobile operators, they are having those websites where you can download melodies and ringtones and wallpapers and things like that. Let's look at the devices. And as to the devices, this is actually quite typical picture of developed market. Apple is by number 1. Nokia now is decreasing, of course, everywhere. However, what's very good, HTC. Even though we know probably many of us here have HTC phones or HTC tablets, however, when we look at total market everywhere, HTC is really barely visible. And now it's beginning to grow. And this is a really good number for HTC. For comparison, Denmark, Apple, by far number 1, HTC 2. This is probably the direction market is going also here. HTC will grow, and well, I don't know how it will fight with Samsung, because in different markets this is different, but still these will be probably number 2 and number 3. And Nokia is losing share. Even though just very recently in Russia, Nokia was stable number 1. Because a lot of people use so-called feature phones, and it was quite popular. But it's not anymore so in Russia. Apple is taking over everyone. And some final notes. First of all, what seems to me is that Turkish audience is really engaged in consuming internet. On average, they spend more per one internet user on the web than average internet user in Denmark. And the difference is big. And the absolute number is big, 50 hours. It's like 2 hours per day. How much people are viewing TV? I think it's comparable. It's worse to go beyond standard indicators, as I showed an example of middle-level managers on Twitter and on local website. It makes sense. I mean, it shows where your investment goes. Global brands are really strong, and strong local brands are mostly connected to news and video content. And short note about trends, what we see in the region, mobile. Of course, now we talk about mobile everywhere, and it's a really good investment. However, also everywhere, money is still not following that fast how much we are talking about it. Of course, it will eventually. However, still, it's very tiny part of all online advertising. However, video is already there. It's big in many markets, and we see that it's already taking some more or less about 5% out of all online advertising, which is a good number. But let's remember that actually boom of videos on the internet, or let's say not boom, but trend, it started in 2005 or 6 when YouTube was established. And only now we see that it generates some share of money on the market. If we speak about videos, trend, what we see everywhere. Last week I was in Russia on conference about exactly about online video, and we did some analysis from Denmark, from Czech, about content, what kind of content is most typical on video websites. And what we noticed is that TV shows actually are generating highest audiences and highest time spent on video sites, which is interesting. So same TV content. When video started, there was mostly user-generated content, while now we see that really high-quality content is taking over it. And second place usually is taken by news, video news materials. And tablets, especially iPads, they are really gaining huge popularity, and also content is following. Same video conference in Moscow, like everybody, like all the video players, all online video players, they are now moving to tablets and also to mobile phones with applications. That's really trend what I noticed there. I don't know about other markets, but tablets in general, of course, are really getting more and more popular everywhere. Some future developments, very short what we are doing. We are launching Gemius mobile research here, the research that will show how big is mobile segment. We are still recruiting panel, software panel, making it bigger for Gemius audience. And we are also launching video measurement, Gemius Stream, which will give you the data about who are those people which are really watching videos, which are clicking play and watching. Because there is still quite big gap between visitors of video site and this audience which is really actually watching. Bigger or smaller, but there is gap. Thank you for attention.